All right. Welcome to Advanced Toastmasters Online. Here are some online meeting tips. You can use your headset or earbuds. If you are hearing some background noise, you might want to do that. Also, mute your microphone when you're not speaking. That's in the lower left-hand corner of the screen. You can also toggle your video on and off if you're eating or something. Like I just tried to put something in my mouth. I might have wanted to turn the video off while that was happening. And next, if you'd like to adjust your view, this view that you're seeing here on the screen is called the gallery view. And if you only want to see the active speaker, then you click on where it says speaker view or active speaker. And that will change your view on your end. On my end, I will change it for the recording purposes over here. If you have questions or notes for the speaker or for anyone else, actually, you can do that in the chat function, which is right here. And you can actually pull, there's a drop-down menu where you can choose someone's name if you have the opportunity to send a speaker some nice notes about their speech afterwards. You can do that there. Or if you need to leave early, you can also add that there. Please do that in between speeches, though. We don't want the chat box popping up on someone's screen as they're doing their speech. Letting you know that this meeting will be recorded. It's our policy that by participating in our meeting, you agree that a recording will be made available publicly on our YouTube channel and on other social media websites and on our website. If you're interested in joining our club, start here where it says become a member. And you'll see the membership forms and the requirements. We are a pre-charter club, which means we have not yet chartered. And at this time, I'd like to say, welcome to Advanced Toastmasters Online, and put the gavel down. And say we are officially starting our meeting. Yay! And as the Toastmaster of the day, I'd like to have our club read the mission of this particular Toastmasters Club. This particular Toastmasters Club was started as an advanced Toastmasters Club, which supports maverick leaders in creating greater impact and providing advanced feedback on online presentations and leadership skills and discovering what it means to be out-of-the-box, innovative leaders. And with that, you are here. I'm going to stop sharing the screen and welcome you all to our meeting today. And we start 5 minutes early, just so we can get through our slide. If you are new to the online Toastmasters meetings, they're not different than a regular meeting. We have three portions of our meeting. The first part is our prepared speeches, then we go into our table topics portion, and then the evaluation portion of our meeting. And at this time, I'd like to introduce the helpers for today. And Andrea is our timer. So Andrea, would you unmute yourself and let us know what you'll be doing as our timer?
As a timer, yes, I would. As the timer, I will be showing you my iPod, and I'll put it right in front of the screen, and it will change colors. It will go from yellow, from green, which means you have met your minimum requirements, to yellow. That means you need to start wrapping up, to red, which means you have 30 seconds to finish. That goes for all of the things that we do today: speeches, table topics, evaluations. I will be timing all of those to make sure that we are staying on time with the meeting and whatever else that we're trying to do. Thanks.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you, thank you. And Andrew, you had a great point. You asked who was our topics master today. I don't know if Jamar, you're experienced enough that you'd like to lead us in the topics for the day. Or
I most certainly can.
Awesome. Well, then now Jamar is our topics master, so yay. Our first speaker of today is Trisha, and she is speaking from the Dynamic Leadership Program Level 3, Increasing Knowledge and Connecting with Your Audience. Her title of her speech is Living Life Backwards. Trisha is honoring the speech, or honing, sorry, Trisha is honing the speech to be used at her next year's speech contest, hopefully to get the chance to go to Paris, France. So please help me welcome Trisha Grow in Living Life Backwards. Trisha Grow.
Have you ever felt lost? Now, I'm not asking you to actually admit that you were lost. Just felt that you were lost. Well, I felt lost most of my childhood. And I think it all started with my birth. Picture it. It's 1971, October. And I finally graced this world with my presence. But I can't be like most other babies. No, I came into this world backwards. Yes, I was a breech baby. And I continued to live in this fashion for quite some time. Let's fast forward a bit to kindergarten. I went into kindergarten and learned my ABCs and 1, 2, 3. At the end of the year, the teacher pulled my parents aside and said, I don't think Trisha is ready to enter first grade. She's too shy. She doesn't speak in class. So she held me back. This means that I failed kindergarten. Failed kindergarten. I cannot tell you how many people were able to commit this wonderful feat. But here I am. Well, I continued to struggle through school. I couldn't keep up with my friends. And I was told over and over again by my teachers, Trisha, you're just slow. By my parents, Trisha, you're just being lazy. And by my classmates, Trisha, you're just stupid. But I was trying my best. I was studying, I was reading, I was doing my homework, but just seemed to be of no avail. Well, finally, when I was in 5th grade, which I had to repeat as well, they did some testing and they found out what was my problem. They figured out that I was dyslexic. This is a learning disability where you tend to see things differently. In my case, I saw things backwards. You might see cat as C-A-T. I saw cat as T-A-C. And to this day, some of my favorite words are dad, mom, and wow. And you know my favorite band? ABBA. You can't mess those words up. That's why they're my favorites. I saw them the same way everyone else did. With this testing and finding out that I was dyslexic, they sent me with a special tutor. And I relearned how to study practices I could use to better myself in school. And not only did I manage to complete and finish high school, I went on to college and was able to do fairly well in college as well. Now, I know what you're saying is, well, Trisha, I wasn't born backwards, and I don't have dyslexia or a learning disability, but I know that you have some difficulty in your life and that you feel that you're fighting against the stream or you're lost. And I would just here today to share with you that you can reach out someone who's completed the task that you're trying to complete. Maybe it's a skill that you would like to receive. Reach out to someone who has that skill. If it's something that you would like to learn, find someone who knows that subject really well and can guide you along with you. So you don't have to be lost. You can face forward and not continue your life backwards just by reaching out and asking for help. And you'll be amazed with what you can do with that knowledge. Back to you.
Thank you, Trisha. Oops, I was just going to ask our guest if she could introduce herself. She just popped off. So, all right then. Yes, every online club is different. At this point, we will go straight into the table topics portion of the meeting. If you are ready, Jamar.
Fantastic. Can everybody hear me?
Yes, we can.
Great. It is my pleasure and honor to be your table topics master for this afternoon/morning session of our online club. The theme for today is positivity. So I would like to ask some questions to all of our members and guests about positivity. First, let's start with the timer, Andrea, since she has not spoken yet during the meeting. My first question is, what are some things that you do to remain positive in difficult situations?
Thank you, Jamar. I actually am not a very positive person. I am a realist/pessimist. I actually live with a optimist, and it drives me nuts that he's positive all the time. I mean, all the time. So all I have to do is walk into a room, and I'm going to get the positive vibes from him that I may need when I'm feeling very more toward my pessimistic side. Although I have to say, when I'm feeling really pessimistic and he's being his normal, overly optimistic, I actually get more pessimistic because I realize that he is not even being realistic at this point. So I have to say that I am not the person that you really want to ask about being positive. However, there are circumstances in which I am the person that you want to go to, and that is when you are really, really sick or something is really, really wrong in your life and you want somebody that's positive. I can see when you're in the most negative space that you could possibly be in, I'm actually the most positive I ever am. And it's crazy. I will look at you and say, oh, this is great. Something great's going to come out of this. Just think about all the people you're going to be able to touch because of this. And I can be very encouraging in those circumstances. But please don't try to talk to me about being positive any other time, because I'm not. And you probably don't even want to talk to me when you're like that, because I'm overly positive in that situation. Back to you.
Thank you so much, Andrea. With that smile, it's hard to believe that you are not one of the most positive people that other people know. With that, we'll move over to the next person, and that will be Dawn, our Toastmaster, as Trisha had an opportunity to speak. So we'll move it over to Dawn. Dawn, what things do you find distract you from maintaining your optimal positive state?
Oh, okay. So I'm very intuitive, and I listen to that first thing that pops into my mind, and I cannot lie. It is traffic. Traffic is my Achilles heel. And as much as I like to think of myself as the positive Zen-like human who did actually try to meditate through my birth of my first child without anesthesia, and staying positive and positively being happy through that whole thing and kindly asking for an anesthesia instead of screaming and ripping their head off. I can do that, but can I drive through traffic positively? I can positively tell you who's a jerk on the road. I can positively tell you who really doesn't have a place to go. They're just trying to get on my nerves. And I can positively tell you that my son realizes that this is a problem. And my 16-year-old son, who doesn't yet have his driver's license, can positively tell you that driving is my Achilles heel, where I have the hardest time staying positive. So with that, I would say, let me call an Uber. Back to you, Jamar.
Thank you so much, Dawn. It sounds like you need a chauffeur in your life.
Yes.
And Uber is the very next best thing. It's funny for me, I drive and I drive with a Zen-like state, but it's because I look at my vehicle as being a mobile university. With the more time I spend in it, the more time I learn. So I've learned to associate traffic with more learning. And that's the only way that I've been able to safely navigate that without losing my positivity. Back to you, Madam Toastmaster. That's all for table topics.
Oh, awesome. That was great. Thanks, Jamar. At this time, we'll move straight into our evaluation portion of our meeting. Lori was going to be she signed up for an evaluator, I believe.
I can go ahead and give an evaluation, Patricia.
Well, Andrea is going to be the evaluator for Tricia.
Okay, got it.
But the general evaluator, I just wanted to make sure, maybe she's obviously she's not here. But at this time, Andrea, I think I'd like to bring you on. Are you ready with your evaluation for Tricia? Did you have time to prepare?
Sure, I'll fake it.
Okay, thank you.
I can do that. Tricia, thank you for your speech today. It was very helpful. I think that you have, the thing that I noticed, obviously, because I was the timer, is that this is that you might want to think about adding a few things, because this could run short and you really want to make sure that you're at least at 6 minutes for it. And right now you're at 5 minutes and 16 seconds. I like the backwards theme, like Jamar said in his notes. I liked how you carried that through, but then you gave us the idea that there was that this was good, that you could find people to help you through things. So you had a good theme running through, and I enjoyed that. That's one of the things about a good speech, is you have a theme that runs through the whole thing and helps us to engage in it. You obviously had a good hook with working back, coming into the world backwards. I like that. It was great. A great way to hook us into it. There was a lag in the middle that I felt, and honestly, I will tell you that I got distracted. Something just kind of, there was a lull in there. You might want to throw in another, a joke or something else that rehooks your audience. And I think it was right after you made it through kindergarten, but it was right after you found out that you had dyslexia. There was kind of a dip there. And so that would be a place to add something into it to brighten it up. The other thing is that you could tell you were a little bit nervous. Your pitch was a little higher than normal. And so I just, because I'm evaluating a little more strict, because I really want you to win some awards with this, because I think it's a really good speech. So I'm just gonna, keep practicing it and get really comfortable with it. And I like the fact that you turn from side to side in a room. That will be very effective. Obviously, when you're doing that on screen, it's not quite as effective. But if you're going to do that in a room, it's very effective. So I'm done with my portion of the speech here, and we're going to go on and we're going to do round robin so everybody else can jump in and say whatever they want to say too.
Okay, I will unmute myself and give my 2 cents. Tricia, I know I've heard this speech before, so I appreciated hearing it, and I'm not sure that Andrea's actually had the opportunity to hear it before. So I remember the first time I think it was longer, and you must have shortened it down a ton. And the thing that I think I don't know which stories we're missing, but there's the element of story I think is going to help that law. Like Andrea said, you're a superior storyteller. And I think that there was maybe a story, just a tiny one. How does it feel like to be, dyslexic in a way that's kind of funny and connects us to something? And I don't know what that story is, but there is an opportunity for that there. Again, I think you do a great job. I love that you always or try to get up while you're speaking. That makes it very helpful to see what you're doing. It's effective, and at the same time, I really want more lighting. So especially when you're standing up, I still want to see those details. And when you're standing up and you're kind of away from the camera, we see your outline more than what we see the facial expressions. I think lighting is going to really help that. And that's all I have to offer. And I really appreciate hearing it again. I loved it the first time, and I can't wait to hear it the next time and the next time and the next time, and you'll just keep getting better. So thank you.
Trisha, fantastic job. This is the second time I heard this speech, and yes, you definitely cut quite a bit out of the speech. One of the things, so I'm going to give two perspectives. One is the live perspective, and one is the on-camera perspective. So if you want to actually make it to Paris, there's something you have to remember. And part of that is that your semifinal actual competition is going to be recorded video that judges judge. So as speakers, as we move forward, the online capability is going to be very important to how you present, because you're not only playing for the people in the room, you're actually playing to the camera as well. So keep that in mind. You had really good hand gestures, but when you look at the evaluation form for the World Championship, there's a lot that talks about the movement on stage. So not just side to side, but the level changes. And I think you have a really significant opportunity to add some level changes when you talk about being a child and hearing things from adults. So there's an opportunity to maybe look up if you're the child. There's an opportunity to look down at your former self. There's opportunities to play around with the level changes as well. And I think that could add some additional movement to your speech. As I mentioned in the chat, and I was trying to keep track of the things in real time. And for this club, I'll make sure that I do it on a notepad on the side. But you had a really great theme. And I thought that it was almost like a car that was driving in reverse really fast, and then it spins around and then drives forward like you see in movies. That's the effect that I think you were going for. I'm not sure if that's what you thought and if you had in mind, but I think if you could think of that effect of how you basically took something that had you moving backwards in life, reversed it, and then use it as a strength moving forward, is the overarching message, which I think is felt. And I like to just hear that more with some movement and with some humor. I think jokes, maybe people use the phrase wrong. I think it's about adding humor to your speech, not jokes, because jokes are things that people can pull out exactly. Humor is you telling your story and finding the humor in maybe pain or struggle. Overall, outstanding speech. And I look forward to seeing you in Paris. Hopefully I'll be there as the 2019 world champion, and I'll be waving you on. Thank you.
Thank you, everyone. And I'm going to now turn it back to me. I'll just do it as a general evaluator, so you don't have to do that, Dawn. Great meeting. Thanks, everybody, for jumping in. As far as timing goes, let me run through that quickly. Trisha, I already said in my evaluation that your speech was 5 minutes and 16 seconds. You do have some wiggle room there. My table topics was 1 minute and 40 seconds. And then Dawn, yours was 1 minute and 29 seconds. My evaluation was 2 minutes and 30 seconds. And we ran over with the round robin, but obviously we had time for that. And we ran that at about 3 minutes and 40 seconds. That's not a big deal, but I just wanted you to know. Really, I am very appreciative, and I just want to jump in here. This is my last meeting with the online club. There's some other things going on in my life where I'm just going to have to refocus a little bit in my life on those things. And particularly, I haven't been very well, so I can't commit to being here every week. As you can hear right now, I'm losing my voice yet again. So I thank you all for a great couple of years here, and I really hope that it all goes well for all of you. And thanks for all your support. Thanks. Back to you.
Thank you, Andrea. So appreciate you and everything that you've done along this journey and getting us here. You've been a big part of it. So I so appreciate it. And oh, yes, Aaron, it's sad to see you go. I completely understand that. And I'd like to, before we wrap up, because we do have time, Trisha, was there anything that you wanted to ask about your speech? I mean, was there like something that you wanted to ask or get some coaching on while we're all here around your speech before we get going?
Yeah, I appreciate the comments. I recently joined Sage Time University, and Darren had told me to take away the beginning. He said it was too much. He wanted me to get right to the meat of the story. So the beginning of the speech used to be how I dreaded bringing people home, and my parents would bring out the photo albums and see me as a naked baby, and how they added insult to injury. They had to listen to them tell the story of my birth, and that used to be my intro. And they's like, "Don't get rid of that." It's too much. So I'm trying to work. I like the beginning, and I appreciate the details about the middle. I'm actually still trying to tweak the ending, the conclusion. It's not where I want it quite yet. But I figure between now and next year, I'll be able to smooth it out.
So tell Darren that Dawn said, add it back to the middle. Maybe add that first part back in the middle. Just put it back in the middle somehow, because I think that those stories are really, really juicy, and they helped bring that feeling of like of it brought us into it. We could connect to those embarrassing. Like right now, it just feels like I want more connection to myself and my own story, and I think those beginning stories that you had, now that you're saying that, gave us a lot of meat to connect with. Everybody can relate to being embarrassed by their family. I mean, I don't know. I can't. So maybe, or they can connect with embarrassing their own children, or, you know, seeing somebody being embarrassed. But there's a lot of connection if they can't connect with dyslexia or being a breech baby. So yeah, tell them I said, Dawn said.
And Andrea, I don't need a written eval because I've gotten this particular project. I mostly just put it on there so people know sort of where it's coming from, but it's a practice speech. So technically, I've been evaluated for it many times. So.
Okay, and yeah, I think at this time, Jamar, how'd you enjoy the meeting? I know you are doing a lot of things. Just curious how you enjoyed it.
Meeting was fun. Obviously, I've been in meetings with less people, so this is enjoyable. It's always an awesome experience to meet new people, especially as we build this digital world. You know, oftentimes you're just on Facebook seeing people post things, and to be online and be interactive in real time is really a good experience. And every time you get a chance to speak and or evaluate, you learn something new about the whole process. So it's always a pleasure.
Nice, thanks. Aaron, how are you doing with the time change? Doesn't change for you, it only changes for us.
No, it does change 1 hour before that. So anything that is actually going in the Eastern time zone, everything is actually just retract by 1 hour. So usually I will have to go for this meeting around like 1 a.m. To start. Now I have to start going to this club meeting around like 11:30. That's how much the difference would be. Good, bad, it depends. It's not that good for my home club comparative communicators because I have to wake up even 1 hour earlier. Meaning that it's already 7 a.m. I have to wake up at 6. Oh. So,
Yeah, that's
that's a nice challenge, but it's okay. I understand what Trisha mentioned about the stage time. I hope stage time does help Trisha in terms of on the speech because recently I've been drilling my international speech. I never found a coach. I never really write down my speech, but after talking with that person, I have to keep it hidden for a while first. He's training me in my speeches, and I see the big difference between me and him. He can turn my 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 dust on my hand into gold. That's the difference, and moreover, it's more like he teach me the techniques, and he has been telling me your English needs improvement. I was like, what is happening with my pronunciation and grammar? I was like, why are you focusing on this? Focus on the content, please. And I was like, what does the grammar matter? I mean, to him, it's like everything matters.
Everything matters.
Everything matters. I was like, and it's my first time officially really writing a speech for content. Usually for me, until district level, I also don't write my content speech. Only just like points at 1, 2, 3. That's all. I just remember and then act according to the audience. Now, because of him, it's a him. I have to type my script from scratch, from the first sentence all the way to the last sentence.
it's a good practice.
It's a different experience for me. I was like, oh. I thought I delivered the best speech ever. It's just like Daryl was mentioning that situation, and Mark Brown was like looking at him. No thanks. Same situation right now. Yeah, I need to learn a lot.
Yeah, I'm one of those people as well. I improvise a lot on stage as a performer and as a speaker, but you realize that the growth comes in your life when you do something that's a little bit uncomfortable, and so that skill, your skill to speak impromptu, is what a lot of people are striving for. However, you have to now strengthen the other muscle so that you can be in both the moment when you're giving a speech and prepared. That's the perfect combination, because sometimes the audience reacts to something that you didn't plan for. And then how do you react? Does it throw you off? So your ability to impromptu is going to carry you through those types of moments. But if you don't have the ability to stay on the script, I actually have a storytelling coach who's 84 years old here in Los Angeles. And she's been teaching for about 15 years, doing it professionally for 20 years after she finished her teaching career. And she says that men tend to wander off in what they want to say in terms of staying with the script and going off. And so I'm in a class with like 15 women and only 2 guys, and the women are they give me heat, but that helps me learn to stay on the rails a little bit better, even though I don't prefer to be. So it's a challenge for me as well, Aaron. So it's one we all share.
I thought I was pretty decent myself until now I realize why I couldn't always win district contests. I'm always positioned around like the top 5 or something, but when I was in UK.
Yeah.
But now I was like, I couldn't even get past the division level because of judging encounters. So I need to refine it even better. Biggest challenge ever in my life.
Well, if that's the biggest challenge in your life, you're doing pretty good.
Oh, you've had bigger challenges.
Well, it's about different perspective. If like for public speaking champions, that is like the biggest challenge in my life. The others I'm fine. I can't overcome that. Now it's only like a few things left in mind for Toastmasters.
Got it.
Yeah. But I definitely do not want to see Andrea go. Really have to speak my piece. Andrea has been a really fantastic addition in this club for a long time. And moreover, her lovely smiles and most importantly, her evaluations are really strict to point. I love how she did it. If I understand the health condition, but do drop by sometime. We definitely missed you too.
Thanks, Aaron. I appreciate that. It's one of those times in life when you have to reevaluate. So I hope to drop in on you occasionally, but we'll see how that all works out.
Yeah, I think it's tough, like when you leave a club to actually come back and visit. So I will just hold that space if you would like to. You're always invited, and no hard feelings at all, because that's the reason. I mean, that really is one of the reasons why I started this club, was for people who are busy and we have busy lives, and we can come in and out, and if we're traveling, we can travel and not feel guilty about needing to be here. This is the ultimate no trap zone, but obviously it might not be as effective as like getting people to join. But yeah, no judgment whatsoever. So, and I love you, and I'm just so grateful for all your support. It really wasn't, I wouldn't even have started this club if it wasn't for Andrea. So she did my HPL. She was one of my HPL guidance committee. She was on my guidance committee, and she's so super honest. So that realistic, I never felt it to be pessimistic, but it's a dose of reality, a real reality, not just sugar-coated reality. Very helpful. So I appreciate it.
Thanks.
Yes. All righty. Well, I'm going to share the screen, and Andrea, since you're not going to be here next week, you can, I guess let me put the gavel down. Gavel down, stop recording. And